I think that the masculine realm of bullying is actually very, very powerful. True friend expects the best of you. I think if I were to go home right now and say, I'm too sad to work, everyone would call me a pot of pain. What do you mean you're too tired to work? What are you talking about? I think that peer pressure and camaraderie that comes with the masculine world, a lot of it can be delivered in a non-PC way, but that's actually the power of it. So I expect my friends to hold me to a high regard. I mean, we're all busy getting things done, and we all expect the best of each other. I would never have friends who don't do what they're supposed to do. We're a group of people who we're all competent people, and we do what we're supposed to do. And if there was one person who continually failed, they wouldn't be our friend very long because we wouldn't have any shared values. Irregardless of how I feel, I have things I'm supposed to do and they must be done. Whether I'm happy or sad, if I wake up sad, or I wake up happy, or I wake up angry, I have the same schedule for the day. I just don't understand the importance we put on feelings was never something. I mean, this is a modern phenomenon, right? Men had duty and honor, and how they felt was not to be taken into consideration because they had things they were supposed to do. Now, once again, now everything's become subjective. Perhaps we're highlighting the importance of feelings amongst men because, one, we're trying to feminize them, and two, we're trying to make everything subjective once again. He doesn't go to the gym because of XYZ, or he feels down, or he's depressed, or he has ADHD, or whatever garbage you come up with. That's fine, but he needs to go to the gym. So we've removed the needs, and we've removed the hard facts, and the duty, and the honor, and the commitments, and we've replaced it all with this subjectiveness. And there's nothing more subjective than feelings. How I feel inside on a day, I say I'm happy, might be the exact same way someone feels inside on the day they say they're sad, because they only think they're happy when they're running around laughing like a child. Whereas, I think I'm happy as long as I'm not distraught. I don't really give a hey how the men I know feel because they have things they need to do. And as long as they're going to do them like they're supposed to do them, I don't really care that much. And if they were to come to me and say they feel down about something, and they had a good reason, I wouldn't be insensitive. But we're talking about a death of a family member or something, and we're talking about 1 or 2 days until you just get back to life. You have things to do. There are people in Gaza right now whose families are getting blown to smithereens. Are they sitting around doing therapy, or are they rebuilding their homes? Time solves all things. God solves all things. And to sit around and be obsessed with feelings is highly feminine. I don't like that energy around me. I think this obsession with feelings in general is once again purported by the Matrix, and they're trying to convince everybody that if you feel a certain way, it's okay to act a certain way, when truthfully, it's not like you're not allowed to act on your anger or act especially as a man. Women do this all the time. I had my period, so you're an adult. You're not allowed to scream at people. You're an adult. Control yourself. If you can't control yourself because you feel a certain way, then you're not allowed an opinion on anything because you're still a Hank kid. For all the women who say they do certain things because they can't control themselves, even though they're a full grown adult, why are you voting and having an opinion on anything because you're still a child? I feel angry. I don't shoot anyone. I feel sad. I don't cry. It's the adult mentality. So feelings don't cross my mind, if that makes sense. They don't cross my mind because they don't affect my day. Most people are living their lives from a heart place and not a head place. Most people are governed by their emotions. Real decisions that move your life along are not coming out of your emotions. They're coming out of your head. There are so many people that are so abstract and they're just moving along from day to day. I'm just not feeling it today. Come back on Thursday. I might be feeling on Thursday. I'm not in the mood for this. And every time you do it, you are canceling out opportunities. A person who moves totally out of their emotions is exempt from the greater opportunity than life, because you will forfeit what God has given you because of how you feel. I know that's culture shock to a lot of you because everything you've ever gotten, you've gotten out of your feelings. But let me tell you, the devil is not fighting you over your feelings. He is giving you images and imaginations to send your head into a panic mode so that you will digress mentally from the leadership that the rest of you needs. Did you hear that? You lay in the bed wrestling with ghosts of what if and may and suppose. And I think, and you wake up tired in the morning because you might have slept, but you didn't rest because all in your sleep you've been fighting. You don't have to force yourself or motivate yourself to think negatively. But if you want to begin to move into your own personal greatness, you've got to be willing to harness your will and say, in spite of this, I'm in control here. I'm going to turn this situation around. I'm not going to sit back and moan and cry over what happened and what went wrong and who did what. I'm going to do something about this situation. Things are going to happen in your life. But remember this, life is 10% what happens to you. It's 90% what you do about it. You can't cry your way out. You've done snapped your neck 4 or 5 times and it didn't change your life. So why are you doing what doesn't work? Why are we loyal with ineffectiveness? We are loyal to things that we know don't work, but because this is how I feel. Many people fail to realize just how brutal and competitive life is for men. We are constantly measuring ourselves against each other, always in competition. And as a man, it is your responsibility to rise above. You must commit to the hard work required to achieve that. The real danger lies in men who let their emotions dictate their actions. Men who are overly emotional become reckless, unstable, and even dangerous. A real man does what needs to be done, not because he feels like it, but because it is his duty. But today's society is teaching young men that they have no duty, that they should act purely on their emotions with no sense of responsibility. Look at the world today. When men act purely on impulse, we see destruction, violence, and instability. A man who cannot control his emotions is a danger to everyone around him. A strong man is not one who suppresses his emotions, but one who masters them, who uses them as fuel rather than being ruled by them. Look around you. Look at your life. Look at the world. Weak men, broken men, controlled men. And do you know why? Because they don't control their emotions. Their emotions control them. You get hurt, you quit. You're just a puppet, a slave to every little feeling that bubbles inside you. And that, my friend, is why you will never be truly powerful until you fix this. Because a man who cannot control his own mind will never control his life. Because the moment you let your emotions take the wheel, you become vulnerable. And vulnerability is exploitable. The second you react instead of strategizing, the second you hesitate because you feel bad, the second you let anger, sadness, or fear dictate your actions, you lose. How many times have you made a bad decision because you were emotional? How many times have you said something in anger that you regretted later? And where has that gotten you? You've been letting your feelings run the show, like an undisciplined child throwing tantrums. And then you wonder why your life isn't where you want it to be. A man who is ruled by his emotions is a man who is ruled by the world. You cannot call yourself strong if you cannot even master yourself. It isn't about looking tough in the mirror. Strength is the ability to stand in the middle of a storm and not flinch. It is watching everything crumble around you and still making the right decisions. Strength is being insulted, being doubted, being attacked, and not reacting because you have full control over yourself while the rest of the world flails around like a bunch of children. Winners understand that emotions are just noise, useless distractions that try to pull them away from their goals. Losers, on the other hand, let those emotions dictate their lives. They wake up and decide how productive they'll be based on their mood. And then they look at their empty bank account, their unfulfilled dreams, their wasted potential, and they wonder what went wrong. You want to win. You want to dominate. You want to be the kind of man who walks into a room and commands respect without saying a word. Then control yourself. Stop whining about things you cannot change. Stop letting temporary emotions make permanent decisions. You don't have time to be weak. You don't have time to sit around and process your emotions. You have one life. Every second wasted drowning in feelings is a second stolen from your potential. So what do? You wake up. You harden your mind. You train yourself to be unshakable. When life throws a punch, you don't break down. You don't hesitate. You don't let emotions howdofing you. You recalibrate. You adapt. And you strike back twice as hard. Weakness feeds on weakness. The moment you allow emotions to take control, they start making decisions for you. And let me tell you, emotional decisions are almost always the wrong ones. Men who sit around complaining about their problems instead of fixing them. They don't realize that every second they spend in emotional turmoil is a second wasted. I see it all the time. A guy gets fired from his job, and instead of immediately figuring out his next move, he spends weeks sulking. A man gets rejected by a woman, and instead of improving himself, he drowns in self-pity. Why? Because they let their emotions control them. They act like their feelings are some kind of divine force that must be obeyed. But here's the truth. Your feelings mean nothing if they don't serve you. You can feel sad, you can feel angry, you can feel frustrated, but none of that matters unless you use those emotions as fuel. You can be the man who collapses every time he faces hardship. Or you can be the man who takes those emotions and turns them into power. The man who can take every punch life throws at him and keep swinging back. That's action. Despite it, you will win. If you can take regret and turn it into discipline, nothing will ever hold you back. But if you let emotions run your life, then prepare to stay exactly where you are. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you should be a robot. I'm saying you should be the master, not the slave. Feel anger, but don't let it make your decisions. Feel fear, but don't let it stop you. Feel sadness, but don't let it break you. You have the ability to feel something and still do what needs to be done. And that is the difference between men who rule the world and men who are ruled by it. Most people will spend their entire lives chasing happiness, avoiding pain, running from anything that makes them uncomfortable. And that's exactly why they never achieve anything. Strength is not built in ease. The men who achieve legendary things are the ones who embrace hardship. They understand that discipline is greater than motivation, that logic is greater than feelings, that taking action is greater than sitting around overthinking.